tonight's very special guest, Mr. John Fury.
Thanks for having me in Newcastle. I'm going to get 3 pounds.
John, welcome to Newcastle. Praise the Lord we got this on because
I looked in doubt at one stage.
April, we're looking at April to do this, and it's completely decimated a lot of people's enjoyment. A lot of people going out. We know COVID's obviously caused a lot of distress, and you know, it's an awful time to be alive. But at least we managed to do it. And thanks everybody for spending your hard-earned cash and coming out, because again, that's not going to be something that's going to be easy for a lot of people over the next few months, as we're trying to get the reality with a new reality, I suppose. That's what it is. But we're here to talk about John. Anyone's got any questions, put your hands up a little bit later, and we'll come to you a little bit later. John, take us back, childhood. Let's go right back to the start. What was it like, you know, for you as a child? Was it a happy childhood?
I had a happy childhood, but it was a rough, hard way of living, to be honest. It was like, there were 6 of us in a 20-foot caravan. You know, we only had one motor, one caravan. The boys slept in one bed and I slept in the other. I went like that till I grew up till I was like 14-year-old. Tarmacking at 10 or 11-year-old, landballing 15, 20 ton a day. Working from maybe 6 in the morning, summertime, till last thing at night in the summer, 9 o'clock at night. That was every day. It was normal carers. We didn't work, we didn't eat. Simple as that.
Yeah, were you living in one area? Were you moving place to place? Were you set? Whereabouts were you brought up?
All over the place, really, because my father had contracts with different farms, but these farms was all over the country. And what my dad used to do on us was repair all the roads, all the buildings, and all the manual labour and repair work farmers needed then. Dutch barns, chicken sheds, house repairs, roofs, we did it all. You know, I used to travel all, when we finished one contract, go straight to another. And it was just nothing but work, work, work. That's all I ever knew as a kid, work, work and more work.
Education, what was that like? I mean, did you learn much? Were you self-taught?
Never went to school. I couldn't tell the time till I was 14.
I mean, sometimes it's education of life, isn't it? You know, it's not a bad thing. My daughter working here tonight, I'm trying to teach her the value of money. You go out, you know, you graft, you make money. Sometimes it's not a bad way of doing things. And maybe that's something we might have to get used to. Kids might have to get used to moving forward. You know, education might be a thing of the past.
Of course, when I was a kid, growing up in the early 70s, my dad said, as long as you can count your money when it's put in your hand, don't worry about that. You're not going to need education, because it was different nowadays. You know, we didn't come from blue-collar people. There was never going to be school teachers, doctors or academic people. We only knew one way, get our hands dirty. We looked at our wits though, we was always pretty clever and sharp like that. We knew a good deal, we seen it. We wasn't afraid of hard work. That was a way of life that was the norm. And you know what? I enjoyed it. I felt better then than I do now, to be honest with you. And that's the honest truth. Hard work never killed anybody. I'll be that happy childhood. You know, I'd go back to that tomorrow. And I always know, when this is all over, this right wrong now, it's all alien to me, but I haven't changed at all. Because my son's a world champion, this, that, and the other. I drive an old car, it's 32 years old, an old 190. You know, it does its job. People say to me, laughing at me, get your lad to go and get you a better car than that. I said, I'm okay with this, mate. It gets me from A to B. And that's how I am now. I'm an unchanged person, you know. Dressed up for me tonight.
Tell us about fighting, John. Were you a fighting man from the start? Did you grow up? Did you get schooled out when you were young?
To be honest with you though,
like Diego or
my granddad's done a proper dad weren't a fighting man.
Is it all sense to that?
I'd rather talk him out of something than argue out of him. And my dad was bullied all his life. He was small, he was quiet, he was a nervous wreck. But my mother, she had a temper like the devil. And she used to say to me dad, what kind of a man are you? Get out there and have a fight. He said, if you like fighting, you couldn't do it. So she said, yeah, okay, we'll do. And she had many punches with a man and everything. She used to have black eyes, cuts all over her. But we said, my God, man, what are you doing? And as soon as we could, like, stick up for ourselves, You know, and I thought, well, my man can do it, my granddad can do it at 75, let's have a do. Anybody else beats cheeky, we're up there, let's have it, let's do it. It's only a bit of fun, and that's all it's it, fun and games.
Can you remember your first fight?
Yeah, and then he got killed.
Who was it against?
It was some miner in Chesterfield, Derbyshire. He was about 18 stone, about 17-year-old, I was about 12. So anyway, hit him with a right hand punch, he blinked, I fell over, he kicked me right in the face and it was all over. I thought, that's a fight game, I'm not going to like it. So I went back to my mum and said, go on, fight him again and do better this time. Anyway, I lasted about a minute this time, it didn't get me straight away. I got a few on him, but I never beat him anyway, so I let go.
Obviously you've established you were a grafter and that something was instilled in you from the start, but you have your first taste of having a fight. Did you look at the fight game as a possible route out of the work and going into it? What was your first thought on it?
To be honest with you, fighting when I was a young kid, 14, 15, 16, it was a Friday night when you got a few pints of beer, you got 3 hairs on your chest, you think you're a man, drink 3 pints of lager, you want to fight 30 Dorman. When you got the shit kicked out of you, you couldn't go to work the next day because nobody'd face you with all the face banged up. It was just a way of life, it was fun. But it just goes one step farther than that, don't it? You start to get used to taking pain. And, you know, all of a sudden getting punched about, getting knocked out, picked back up again, getting chucked through a chippy window on a January night. It didn't really mean much, you know what I'm saying? But I was 22 before I considered heavyweight boxing. I had a few rumbles, done a bit of jail for a bit of unlicensed job or whatever, and I kept getting in trouble with it. So I've done a stretch, I think I've done 3 years.
I'll have that Maradona.
I come back skint, I had a son, he was 4 months old, I went home. So I come out of jail, 42 quid. I said to her, stay at your mother's with the kid, let me go and earn some money. When I've got the price for home, I'll come and get you. So I bought a couple of tins of paint, some sandpaper, some brushes, and I was painting the frames and doors for £20, 30 quid. So I got the price for the old telecom van from the auction. And one day I got my old van, week later, sees a big old tall house in Halifax. Rough windows, thought he'll have a job here to do, there's money there. Not direct from this old fella come out, flat nose, beat to death, cauliflower. I thought, my kind of bloke. I said, your windows look a bit rough, do you want a cheap job doing that? I'm down on my luck, I said, but I'm willing to work hard. I want to tear a new leaf over. I've got a wife and baby, so I'm looking to buy my own a caravan. From the travelling community, I just want to breathe, I'm skint. I said, lad, if you can do them, he said, how much you want to do? I said, 40 quid. He said, if you can do them, I'll give you 100. So I got my ladders off the top, got my brushes out to work, and he shouted me down the dinner hour, he said, come down and have a sausage sandwich and a piece of cake. So anyway, I thought, that'll do me. Goes in his house, there's pictures of boxers everywhere, famous boxers. I said, what do you do, mate? I'm a manager, promoters and boxers. My name's Tommy Miller from Halifax, some of you might have heard of him. He said, you're a big enough lad, he said, have you done any boxing? I said, no. I said, no, what fights has now been hit a bit in my lifetime. He said, do you fancy doing a bit? Well, I said, I would. I said, what are we talking? He said, yeah, 350 quid for 4 2-minute rounds. But he said, there's one problem, the show's on in 4 weeks' time. So I said, okay then. I said, I'll be there, don't worry. So he put his hand in his pocket, he said, listen lad, I'm going to take a punt on you. There's the 350 quid. I said, you don't have to, mate, I'll be there. So anyways, give me the money. No, I insist, he said. I put the 350 quid in my pockets, I'll be there. He phoned me a few days later, medicals. So I went and done my brain scan, seen the doctor. I sparred with some other heavyweight to see if he was capable of turning pro. So he was happy with that. And I went and met Brennan Ingle, Alma Ingle in Sheffield. Anyway, he signed me off. And the rest is history. I fought on the 27th of April 1987 against Alan Fogarty in Halifax. I got beat on points, but it was a good fight. But I won my next 6 after that. I started getting paid a few hundred quid here and there. And I enjoyed it. It was a great experience. But then the abuse started. Being overmatched. Taking fights on short notice, 2 and 3 days. You know, he's ring me, you see, you've been training now, so I've been on a few tarmac jobs, it'll do us, I'm strong. But fighting athletes, what's been in the gym, what's doing it regular, and you're not doing that kind of training, not eating that kind of food, you're only going to come up short. But I still managed to win 9 out of my 13 bouts. But I was a novice professional. I was going up against ABA champions. Men and lads had 80 fights, 100 amateur fights, and they expected me to win. They said, oh, People say today, you've got no stoppages on your record. I said, you know why? I was always meant to fucking lose, I said. That's why I got no stoppages. I was in the way corner, I was never meant to win, and I still won 9. You know, but at the end of the day, I only lost to world-class men. You know, I got robbed a few times, but the only fights I lost really was the last 2. Because I was knocked out, I couldn't argue with that. But like I say, what did he expect from myself? No amateur fights, eating fish and chips for his tea and fighting later on that night. I probably worked all day beforehand. So you can only do the best you can, can't you? But I enjoyed it, it was a good experience. It made me the man I am today, and it gave me the knowledge and the education to guide my son to the WBC heavyweight champion award.
Quite unbelievable reading when you didn't have an amateur, you know, you went straight into it. I mean, did you find the fighting easy? You know, you do a hard day's grappling. Did you just find it? Did you find it easy? I mean, you went in against Boggle, you go the distance against him, you lose on points.
Truthful, it's the hardest thing I'll ever do. When you get them gloves on, I thought this is going to be easy. I've had a few punch-ups outside, fought for 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. But the kids was my calibre. You had beer bellies, just come out the pub, eating fish and chips, eating all the shite in the world. We'd fight for half an hour, but maybe throw 3 fucking punches. You know what I'm saying? But you're in against an athlete, and all of a sudden we did 10 to 15, 20 times in round 1. Your head's like a fucking springboard. And I'm thinking, I'm in this shit here. You know? But you know what? I just kept coming back for more and more and more. I thought, I can only get better. I can't get any worse. I'm going to keep doing this. Where I got, and I ended up fighting for a limit for British heavyweight title myself. I got to number 10 in Europe, number 3 in the country, on half mass, doing my own training. A bag at the back of the house and jogging down the road. And I was meant to fight a couple of North East lads for an eliminator. Paul Lister was one, Dave Garza was the other, and Manny Burgo was the other one. All North East lads, and was all in that shake-up for the eliminator British title. But them fights never come off. So they put me in with that Nephilim of a human being, Henry Akawandi.
What was that like? I mean, what was, you know, that was a...
Well, the rest of these boys, Garside, Lister, that what they say his name, Manny Burgo, was all sort of on that level, learners, you know what I'm saying? This man was 4 times ABA champion, bronze medalist in the 88 Olympic Games. He was 19-0 when I fought him, knocking everybody out. He knocked out the world cruiserweight champion, JB Williamson, in 1 round. You know, next I was fighting him. I hadn't boxed for a frigging year, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, got knocked spark out the 3rd round. Listen, I've done the best I could. You know, I took the fight to him, hit me with a good shot, that was the end of it. When heavyweights connect on you, you're gone. But out of my time of being knocked out and scraped off that canvas, I know what it is every time my son gets in there. Men at this size, it's a blink of an eye, it's over. You can be winning the full 12 rounds, and as long as there's seconds left in the fight, you can come unstuck. It's been proven, and I've witnessed it myself.
You boxed Neil Malpas for the Central, was it the Central area title? The heavyweight title? I mean, you lost again, I think, on points to him.
To be fair, I beat Malpas, I got robbed. It was a war of roses. Lancashire versus Yorkshire. Mickey Van was from Leeds, Pudsey. He wasn't going to win, was he? It was at Doncaster, Brodsworth Miners Welfare. We had a good scrap, but I had 6 fights. And Neil Malpas had 45 fights. He knocked out Joe Woolmy. Went 15 rounds for Fred Evangelist, who was world rated at the time. We fought Larry Holmes, you know, and they had to rub me. And I was as fat as a pig. I had to cut the short for the top of the standard blade to get before I went in the ring. And I still went 10 3-minute rounds and 6 pro fights. I was a novice kid, you know, but Neil will tell you himself. Neil was a good fighter, but I thought I won the fight by at least 3 rounds. You know, but it was a good scrap anyway. But you're never gonna, people, unless they was there to see it and witness it, you say, Malpas beat him. But I'm a truthful lad. I beat Malpas. Like I said, the other boys knocked me spark out. Fogarty beat me on points, no problem. But I did beat Malpas. I got the better of that one. You can tell you yourself, really.
Yeah, I wonder if obviously that you must have just decided that's it. You know, you walked away from pro boxing with any regrets?
No, because what it was, I found out my manager was having me off, really. You know, and I trusted Tommy because he was there from the beginning. He gave me a chance, and I didn't think he'd do it to me. And I said, Tommy, I said, you sure can win this, mate? I said, a bit out of my depth here. I said, I've had 11 pro fights. I've had no match if I'm good again, a world-rated man. You'll turn him over, you'll do this, that and the other. Anyway, he promised me this, promised me that, and he gave me 500 quid at the end of it. I got a detached retina, I got an airline fracture in my jaw for 500 quid, and I couldn't go and get me living the next day to support my family, whereas that banged up, you know. So I was depressed with it, and I took 4 years out. I walked away for 4 years, got the bug back again after partying, raving in the 90s, being a Johnny bad boy, you know, leaving home for weeks at a time, getting off my face really. A 20-stone fat man jumping up and down with an E-tablet in him.
Sounds very familiar, this.
With a load of teeny bottles. The missus said, "Where have you been?" I said, "I've been to a fucking rave. I'm going again next week." I said, "Right, divorce court for you." I said, "Right, where do you want me to fucking sign?" Still fucking here though, 35 years later.
Brilliant. Brilliant. We'll come to Tyson later, but he seems the apple doesn't fall far from the tree by the sound of it. From your perspective, when you did walk away, what was your next move?
Say that again, Chief.
What was your next move after you walked away from boxing?
To be honest, I just wanted to be a dad. Because I'd had a mad time partying, because I was a party animal. I didn't look like this then, because I thought I was James Bond back in the day. Self-denial, like. But anyway, self-praise is a good recommendation. I've said that. But listen, partied me time when I looked in the mirror, got out of bed with a couple of brasses, I'm being honest. Nothing to be proud of. You know, I probably had 3 or 4 lines of cocaine as well. So I looked in the mirror and I thought, you good for nothing piece of shit. Get home to your kids and be a dad. And that's what happened then. They're trying to be a dad for 4 years. Never fucking succeeded.
John did see you be honest tonight and he hasn't let me down so far.
I'm truthful, mate. Hey, you want to hear the truth? Come to John Fury. I don't like nothing. Should I?
What did you think? What did you think when the lads started to look at boxing? And did you encourage it from the start?
Tyson, when he was born, 1988. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was pissed up when I conceived him. I'd come in, I was drunk as a pig on Guinness. And I thought, you know what, it's good stuff this Guinness, so I did the missus look for it. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was one of my better nights. I said, you know what, if you get pregnant, there's a world champion coming. And what happened? She was really pregnant. So I said, you know what, this is uncanny. When he was born, because there was 2 of them, she was having twins, but one died. And the doctor said to me, don't build your hopes up, he's very weak, he's very small, he's a pound in weight. I said, can I see him then before anything happens? I said, because you know what, I'm white anyway. I said, I can take it on the chin. Go on, I said, let you in. And I looked at him, and he had his hand up like that with his fist clenched. And you know what, I picked him up, put him in there, put him in my hand. He opened his eyes and said, listen, he's living, he's going to be nearly 7 foot, 20 stone, the next heavyweight champion in the world. Say what you want, he's living. I played around with him for 2 or 3 days a week, was they let me in for visits and all that, and I could see him getting stronger and stronger. There's just something special about the kid from then on. You know, Mike Tyson was heavyweight champion of the world, a wrecking ball, beating everything in his sight. There's only one name fitting for him. He's fought to get in the world, he's here, his name's going to be Tyson.
When you got into the spirit of it and the boxing and the training, you know, could you see that he was going to be a world champion? Could you see it in him? Could you know, what was outstanding about him at an early age?
Nothing. He was fat, he had bow legs, he was an odd character, quiet, timid, he got bullied at school. I thought I've named you wrong, I should have called you Sarah or something like that. I said, what are you letting these kids bully you for like that? You come out of my nutsacks or what? You know, I said, I'm not with a cup of cold goat shit. I said, but I won't be freaking bullied. So anyway, he said, you shut up, Dad. He bust out crying. So anyway, I used to do a lot of training in Liverpool now, because a good friend of mine, Franny Hans, genuine Liverpool scouser, proper man, honourable man. It's good to be inspired, lads. And I took him with me one day. He said, Dad, can I come to the boxing club? I said, all right, so I'll take you. Well, you've got to grow a pair of knackers, I said, and you've got to listen and look and learn. Will you do that? He said, I will. So anyway, stopped at 2 McDonald's on the way, because that's how he was. He had to have the Big Mackie D. So I've got him there. He's eating his McDonald's. He said, Dad, shut up, son. He said, Dad, you're shit. He said, you're friggin' useless, Danny. I can do better than you. I said, right, I'm going to show you now what you can do. Get him gloved up. So Franny's kid, he was about 14, but there was little in him. Tyson was a fat lad. He was a big kid, but he was fat. But anyway, Franny's son was about 14, and about 22 or 3. Junior bouts apiece. So I put Tyson in with him, thinking he was going to get battered. Hey, listen, surprised me. I don't know wherever he got it from. The skill he had and the footwork, and never a pair of gloves on in his life. Just watched me bang a bag about in the garage. He took me that aback. I thought, my God, am I looking at things here? I kept going home in the car, kept staring at him. I thought, never seen like him. I told everybody with a pair of ears. Anyway, I took him to a man called Jimmy Egan in Withenshaw, big rough council estate. Biggest council estate in Europe, and one of probably the roughest. I took him to the boxing club there. I said, Jimmy, have a look at this lad of mine. He said, he's not a boxer. I said, I'm telling you, forget how he looks, watch the moves. And I put him in with a kid. And the kid had bouts and everything, he was about 16. And that lad was about, what, he'd been 12, 13-year-old. He battered this kid into submission. I said, right, we've got some up there. And that's where it started rolling. He lost the weight, and do you know what it was? He was 16 before he came to fight, because he was that big. You couldn't match him up at all. Because that 15-year-old is a man 6'5" and maybe 16 stone. And he used to spar with me. And that 14-year-old we got in the garden one hot summer's day, was going and arguing and told me to do something, told me to F off. So I gave him a clip round the ear on. He said, get the fucking gloves on! I said, I'll get the gloves on, I'm going to beat you to death, you fat bastard. What happened? It was left up and smashed all the ribs, put me off work for a week. He hit me right in the ribs with the left hook. I thought, surely no. I said, all right, time. He said, no time, the bell ain't gone. So I went to get my company, it was like the ribs was poking through. I said, you've done me some damage. He said, I told you was frigging shit. He was running around like the king of the world. They went to the hospital, he said, Mr. Fury, your ribs are broke. And he was 14, I was embarrassed. I'm glad my son done it, nobody else. Now I've got an excuse when I'm world champion. Don't sound so bad.
What was his amateur career like? What was he like in the amateurs?
Won everything. The ones he lost, he got robbed. He was always fighting abroad. Do you know what? He cancelled the junior ABAs when he was 16, he was that big. He said to me, he's not 16, he's about 25-year-old. I said, I got his birth certificate, mate. He was born on the 12th of August 1988, getting matched up to cancel the junior ABAs. That's alright, I said, we'll fight men. He's fighting men, 30-year-olds. I said, right, forget the juniors, we'll fight the seniors, because he's that good. And he beat them all, beat everybody. He even fought here one night in Newcastle, Danny Hughes. Do you remember Danny Hughes? He fought Danny here in Newcastle.
Yes. I know, John!
Yeah, fought Danny.
Hello!
Hello, is that you?
John!
How are you?
My name's Jimmy Lowe. You know Isaac Lowe?
Hi!
I'm Jimmy Lowe, Isaac Lowe's cousin.
Jimmy Nathan Lowe, Isaac Lowe's cousin.
Yeah.
I can see where Isaac gets from now with a pint of beer. Can't keep Isaac at the pub.
Anthony Simpson up here as well, the next in the amateurs.
Yeah, he did, yeah. He was a good kid. Was it a draw or something?
That was a draw.
I thought it was, yeah. A long time ago now, though.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And even from that point on, we knew then there was something special in the kid, you know, because it's proved, hasn't it? Time has told the tale.
When did you decide it was right for him to go professional? I mean, obviously struggling in the amateurs to get matched, you know, instead of fighting the juniors, he's fighting the seniors. When did you decide it was time to go pro?
To be honest with you, we got frigged over in the amateurs.
Rest of order, please.
We got frigged over in the amateurs, to be honest with you. Tyson, he won everything, kept getting sidelined, and his dream was to fight in the Olympic Games. It was the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing. His heart was set on him. Anyway, he would pick somebody else. So I said, okay, then we'll fight for Ireland. Because I was born in Ireland, you know, so I got dual passport and all that kind of shit. I'll get into that in a minute. And I said, okay, if he's not going to box for England, he'll box for Ireland. So I got on the phone to the Irish Commission. He said, John, we'd love that, he said. I said, if you want a chance of winning the gold medal for Ireland, I said, pick my son, send him, he'll do it. Anyway, they was up my arse 25 miles, blowing me off here, there, left, right and centre. So anyway, a done deal. A couple of weeks later, they rings my phone, 9 o'clock at night. John, can we have a word? I said, what's it about, mate? Well, he said, we need to see you in person. I said, look mate, I'm in Manchester, you're in friggin' Dublin. Tell me what it's about. So anyway, jumped on the plane, gets there. He said, we can't let Tyson box for Ireland in the Olympics. I said, why have I not, like? Well, he said, we've had the boxing commission on. I'll mention his name, so I'm not a bullshitter. His name's Paul King. He's the head of amateur boxing in Great Britain. He went and told them he'd sever the contract between Ireland and England with all the small shows if Tyson went to Olympic Games. So I nearly got myself killed in Ireland. I said, it's treason. I said, you're all traitors to the cause. I said, and this, that and the other. You're making a boxing match political. I said, but I said, I'll tell you what it is. You've missed out, I said, because this kid is going to win everything with your help or without it. So I said, you know what, Tyson? Frig the amateurs, let's go pro. And the rest is history.
The journey for Tyson as a professional, as a heavyweight, it's never easy. As you said, one punch can change a heavyweight fight. It can be, it can be a one-sided fight on paper, but one punch changes it all. Tell us about those early fights and how you think you coped in those early fights.
In the early days of my term pro, it was hard to get Tyson focused. It was hard to get him in the gym. We used to put him in prison. He kept getting out the caravan winning all-night hazards, 24-hour hazards, eating pies and cakes at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I had to guard him like a scrapyard Alsatian. And every time I shut my friggin' eyes, he was gone to hazards eating fucking pies. I said, no wonder I can't get fucking weight down. I said, you're fucking full of fucking chips and pies and cakes. And you're murders fighting and scrapping in the yard. It's like I'm beating these men without training. And that's basically what he done. He done what he said on the tin, beat him without training. The first 10 anyway.
Amazing to see, the ups and downs, but the character started to form after that, didn't it? And I think a lot of it, I've interviewed Tyson myself when he's been up here a couple of times, and we've spoken quite in depth about his career, but he grasped publicity and he grasped social media as time went on, and he says that's very important. He built a fan base, and how you were getting paid for your fights. You got that $350 for your first pro fight. He entered a new era, didn't he? Where if you got the right fights and you got into the right area, suddenly you found yourself as somebody. But he grasped the social media quite quickly, and
Tyson went to all them big dogs. He's got millionaires, plastic millionaires I call them. Blowing smoke up people's house. Yeah, we'll have it. We're promising the world. All them big men didn't deliver. One man delivered. Little fat Mick Hennessy from London. He said, that's what I can afford. That's what I'll do. I've got television. Shook hands here and then in his next 10 fights. But the turning point was John McDermott won. I don't know if anybody can remember when he fought McDermott the first time. Close call, it could have went any other way. I said to me brother on the train we had there, he's too young for John McDermott. I said, John McDermott's a seasoned man. The kid's lost twice. He beat Danny Williams and never got it. He was on top of his game. John McDermott, he was another Andy Ruiz. He didn't look the part, but he could bloody fight. So I said, he's too experienced, he won't let my lad out of it. He's a man against a boy. Anyway, he went ahead. And Tyson got his hand picked up. It was luck, because it could have gone either way. John gave a good account of himself. But that's when Tyson knew he had to train and train hard. And when he got him again the second time around, he stopped him in the 8th, and it was hard work then. And from then on, when he started to train and get it right, I went into a bit of trouble, got in a brawl, and got 11 years in jail. So I left my son to the mercy of the world, and that's when his problems started, I think, with the mental health shit, because 1 minute you're there, 1 minute you're gone. And I used to manage him and look after him, and he trusted me. Because if you can't trust your dad, you can't trust nobody. I'm one of them, I love my kids. I'll take a bullet in the brain for any one of them. And I thought, you know what, I'm a dad who wants nothing out of my son, for him to reach the top and achieve what they set out to do, even if they don't earn any money. If they end up skint at the end of it, back where he started in the caravan, as long as they give it the best and have done the best and never left a stone unturned, I'm alright with that. But I got all that jail and he was there, a fledgling heavyweight with the world at his feet. And it's like now, he's a ship without a compass on a stormy sea by himself. But look what have it. My brother just come out from doing 10 from a big drugs deal. But it's not 10 years for 10 years, can't even see it. But anyway, done his jail like a man come out. He come and sit me in jail. He said, "Are you alright for everything?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You know what, Pete, I'm worried to death about this lad. He's going to fall into the wrong hands. These shower of shit out here, these sharks are promoting, but we're going to get him and ruin him. And I think he can be a world champion." He said, "You know what? I need a change of life," he said. "I'm sick of being a trouble. I'm sick of being a plastic gangster." He said, "I want to do something, change my life around." Well, listen, you know the job like me, you've lived and breathed it, get together, change the world, and impress the shit out of me, and give me some peace in this godforsaken place. And it went on from there, and Peter made him into a world-class heavyweight.
Great story as well. Great story. Before I open it up to the people on the floor, let's talk about the fight against Klitschko, the fight that ultimately changed his life for the better and then for the worse temporarily. Tell us about it. I mean, you had a big involvement in that, and the honesty was there again. You were very critical and rightly so of TV companies. So tell us about the whole thing.
Well, I'd only just got out of jail. I got out of jail in February. And the scheduled fight was in November. So I come out, and I could see this lad of mine was running well. You know, he was training, and I thought, I know you, there's someone on your mind. I used to say to him, "What's up with you, Tyson, man?" I said, "So wrong with you?" I said, "Pull yourself together." I said, "I'm out now." He said, "Yeah," but he said, "It's not the same." He said, "Oh, you're like a strange man and all this job." I said, "Listen, forget what I do." I said, "I'm here watching every move you make." I said, "Peter's doing a great job here. Let's get on and beat this man." But it was a rocky road. It was the hardest 6 months. He kept breaking down in camp, sparring shit, eating shit, and he kept saying, "You know what? Oh, Klitschko knocked me out." I said, "Son, why do that?" I said, "You've worked hard and strived all your life to get to this point where you're at now. I said, what you want to do, blow your ticket?" I said, "Let me tell you, you know when you blow your ticket, you might as well blow my frigging head off. Because I've waited all my life for this point in time, and you're going to blow it over nothing, and we're all back together. I'm alive, I'm not dead. We're back here." Anyway, got him right, got his weight down. Fight's on, game on, but he had to lose. He was 24 stone to get down to 18.3. But he did work hard, we all done it together. But let me say this much, we got on a plane and got to Germany. Now listen, the German people are lovely people and public treaters like kings. But you know Klitschko and his team, cheating, bogus. There's the biggest cheaters in his team we have ever worked with ever. And I'll stand here and say that. I told him to the face anyway. I nearly called the fight off the 11th hour. He was frigging about the bandages, frigging about the gloves, messed about with the ring. I said, "Look boys," I called a big meeting, 1 o'clock in the day. I said, "You must think we've got chocolate buttons for eyes and pilchards for brains. Let me tell you, mate, that ring's coming up or we're not fighting. So you either change the ring or we're getting back on the plane. We're here for the money, we're here for them belts. So get your facts together or else we're on that frigging plane." Anyway, they tried to sort the ring, wasn't satisfactory. Believe me, but I thought, you know what, we're here now. It's not the best, but we'll have to do it. Lo and behold, the gloves. The gloves, Tyson couldn't get his hands in them. I said, "Mate, these gloves don't fit. You have to change the gloves." "No, they're the sodding gloves. We're wearing them, that's what it is." And he said to me, "I'm the fucking champion." I said, "I don't give a fuck who you are, mate. Don't shout at me," I said. "I don't give one toss for you," I said, "or him with a fuzzy head." So anyway, they've looked up and said, "Remove this criminal from the heavyweight champion of the world. We don't want this criminal in the building." Tyson said, "That criminal is my dad." Now he said, "If he's not in the building, I'm not in the building." And he said, "You know what? Shove this fight up your ring piece," he said. "We're going back to Manchester." Anyway, the German authorities intercepted us on the way and talked around all that and the other. But even half an hour before the fight, the bandages, they were trying to cheat in the corner with the bandages and all that. Klitschko's brother watched Tyson wrap his hands. Anyway, I said, "Okay then, I'll go and watch your lad now wrap his hands." "We're all done, we're ready to go." I said, "I'm not seeing him wrap his hands." "No, we're running out of time, it's the television slot." I said, "I don't give a frig if Hitler comes back. Get his friggin' hands unwrapped now," I said. "I don't care about any German, born up his mother, get them hands unwrapped now, or the fight's over." He said, "Are you threatening me?" I said, "I'm threatening you, don't you worry about that. I'm telling you, I'm threatening you, I'm doing everything to you. Get him off." Anyway, he said, "You fuck off." I said, "I'll do that as well." "Fuck you, fuck 50,000 fans," I said, you fight him," I said, "Bait Bum, you fight 50,000 people anyway. They've come in to think, look, calm down, I'll take the bandages off. But even so, I said to Tyson, get in there and beat the shit of this man, but do it clever. Box his ears off. You're as fit as you can be, you're 27-year-old, you're born to be here to do this. Get out there and make me fucking proud by beating him. He said, Dad, I've won the fight already. Skipped to the ring, said his prayer towel, got Jesus Christ, and bang, boxed his 2 ears off, got the belt overseas, never been done before. Bang.
And then he came and partied in Newcastle with us about 6 days later. And we had a great night out. Julie, you were there. You had a good night out as well, I remember that.
That's where he got addicted to cocaine, Newcastle.
So he ended up then, though, as I said before, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Tyson decided to go through his rave period. He hit that mental block, didn't he? And that was something which he talks about quite openly now, you know, and it's, I've seen somebody tonight, we're not going to name who it is, but somebody who came up and said, your son saved me. And that's because somebody's seen the mental battle he's gone through. They've obviously been through something similar themselves. Tyson got through it, luckily, but I mean, what was it like as a father watching your son go through that?
When you say apples don't fall far from the tree.
Time at the bar, folks. Time at the bar.
So anyway, apples don't fall far from the tree. I was born a mental health patient. All my life I've had mental health. But we worked that hard and never had time to recognise it. Because when I was a young kid in the 70s growing up, if you was depressed, you're not looked on as not a proper man. You know.
Can we just keep it down, please? Keep the talking down, please, because the people at the back cannot hear. Apparently. Thank you. Yes, cool.
So yeah, he was looked on and not a proper man. You're not being reared up right, and this, that, and the other. So he couldn't come out with it. There's days I felt like chucking myself on the buses. When I had to do a tarmac job, I thought, you know what I could do with jumping off a cliff. But you couldn't tell your dad, you couldn't tell your mother, because you got kicked up the ass, slapped and blood, and probably never got your tea. So it made no difference to cry out, so you kept it bottled up inside. But I was always getting depressed, always getting in trouble, and I didn't know what it was about. And I found out, since Tyson was unwell, I thought it's a mirror image of what I'd grown up like. Because I kept getting in trouble, kept getting in prison, couldn't get no help in jail, got depressed in jail. I thought, you know what, lit the gym. The gym cures everything, still does today. I still run today, because when I get down, I've got to go on a 5-mile run to sort myself out. So when I first seen it with Tyson, was after the Klitschko fight. When no press was there, we got off the boat, no, because we got the ferry back, believe it or not. It's just big Klitschko on a ferry. I think the rooms only cost 30 quid a piece. So anyway, on this ferry, comes back, nobody there. He said, Dad, I've just beat Klitschko. He said, you'd have thought there'd been the newspapers, you wouldn't, something like that. Not one person was there at all. We got her up at all, not one person was there. Got in a BMW car, come home. He said, Dad, I don't feel like I won the world title. I said, you've won it, son, forget about other people. You know, you was never meant to win. They thought Klitschko was going to embarrass you on national television in front of the world. They've got egg on the face, they've lost. We can hold our heads up, you're champion of the world, whether or not. And after that, he started hitting the town. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, going on drinking benders for a week. His missus was ringing me and said, I've not seen Tyson for a week. People was ringing me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, John, come get your lad. He's off his face. He's laying in the fucking side of the lounge bar, or rolled up under a table. And I looked at him one day, I went to pick him up out of the pub. I thought, look at the heavyweight champion of the world. Off his face, slaver coming out of his mouth, pissed himself. I thought, my God. What the frig is wrong? And that's what I knew. I thought we need professional help here. And the rest is history. Took him to a doctor in Preston and he diagnosed him with bad bipolar.
Last question from me, then we'll open it up to the floor for the last 20 odd minutes before we have to call it a night. Deontay Wilder, 2 great fights. Yeah, I mean, amazing to see that first fight where he came back from the dead after dominating the fight and just getting caught with one of those punches that you talk about that any heavyweight can throw. Second fight, what a fight that was. He just, you know, he proved to be what we all knew he could be and always will be, the best world heavyweight that we've seen in this country so far, I think.
The first Wilder fight, he fought 2 taxi drivers and lost 10 stone as many months. And I think Josh was to and from the Wilder. And he stepped in, he said, listen, all these pussies, he said, won't fight one another. He said, listen, I'll fight you. Come on! So Deontay Wilder thought, yeah, big name on the record, easy pickings. He's only an ex-drug addict and alcoholic. I'll walk all over him. And I said, you know, if you take this fight on against my orders, I'll never talk to you again as long as they live. If you want to throw your life down the toilet and get badly hurt and probably get put in hospital and crippled and dead off a spoon for your stupidity, I'm having no part of it. You're a father, you've got kids, you've got me, you've got your mother, you've got your brothers. Think about us for a change. But what do you do? F you, I'm doing it. I'm a fighting man. And that's what he done. They started freaking robbed him, didn't they? Robbed him. I was 2 knockdowns from a 12-round fight. He's boxing head off. And I always knew from then on, from the first fight, that Wilder was never ever going to be any good to an on-form Tyson. So I said to Tyson, put a few stone on, get a few fights behind you, get the right technique going, go forward, and you'll get him out of there. You know, they just had to get rid of Ben Davison. He was a kid, but he was blowing smoke up his ass, telling him he was fit and you're looking good. And what he used to do is concentrate on having a body like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I said, listen, you're built like a Nephilim, I said. You're never going to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. We're as fat as pigs, I said. We're all misshaped, I said, but that don't mean a thing. Bodies don't win fights. Concentrate on your power and getting the weight right. And to do that, Ben Davison's got to go. No, I'm not sacking Ben. Well, I said, if you want to get beat, knock Spark out, keep Ben on your team. And you seen it with Otto Wallin. Otto Wallin should have lasted Tyson 2 rounds, but he nearly unstuck Tyson. Bad cut, and if Tyson hadn't been $100 million investment, the referee would stop that fight on a cut. It was outrageous, that cut. And I was hoping the referee was going to stop it. His eyelid was hanging off. And I thought, you know what? Could end up a permanent injury. I thought we'll come again on this. But he seen it through, got stuck in, bit down his gum shield, and he got the win. You know, on the next, he learned so much from that fight though. And I knew when he come to Otto Wallin, the next step was Wilder. I was going to walk right through him. And you know something? Wilder got the worst beatdown I've ever seen a reigning defending world champion ever get in history. And I've seen all of them.
Great stuff. Okay. I'm going to take some questions from you. We'll probably get through 20 minutes of questions, so it's hands up. I'll come to you. Please don't shout out. We'll come to you at each a good time. I'll try to get through as many as possible. Tony?
Absolutely, because when I was watching him from an armchair in my front room, and I seen after 7 rounds in Wilder won, Tyson no left in his tank. He was running empty. He was feather dustering him, and he was just trying to use his whole head and his boxing skill to see the final belt. He was trying to get the punch win, and I thought this bastard lands a bomb, he's going to go. But he's still, even at his worst point, he got back up and fought and won. Even when he got put down for that big count, he got up and took it straight to him because he thought, right, it's all or nothing. I'm in America, I'm probably going to get robbed, I'm either going to get knocked out, I'm going to knock you out, and he tried to go for it. But if he'd have been in proper condition, you're right, he wouldn't have landed.
Okay, next question, yeah? He says, can you promise him Wilder won't knock him out?
If Wilder knocks my lad out in the 3rd fight, I'll walk through Newcastle town centre with no crowd.
Yeah, you heard it here first. You'll have to have a mask on.
I still know I am from a fat ugly body, because that's definitely John Fury. Nobody's built like him.
Yes, mate. What's happening with Mickey Theo?
What it is with people like Mickey Theo, you can't blame the kid. He wants to get a bit famous, make himself a few quid. But you know, that man, he went on and on and on. And you know something, this is a fight game, it's business. What I say on them videos is to promote fights. Like I was saying, I can do this, I can do that. It helps to put arse on seats, it's a business. But do I really mean it? No. Do I think I can hold my own with any 54-year-old? Yes, I fucking do. But the thing is, yeah, I'll get him with Tyson. Listen, he's only, what does he do? He only smokes gangs, he's alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? I ain't done that for 25 years, so that puts me in front of him. But anyway, thing is like that with Mickey Theo. He went on and on and on, so I thought, okay then mate, get yourself up here, you want to fight me, you challenge me, if you want it that bad, get in the car. It was a police, Jimmy was coming to it, the police Manchester Flight Club, it's my place, it runs with a good friend of mine, but he's a policeman, and he said, look John, if you want this fight to work properly, he said, get to be a proper, I offered him everything, get up here and have your say, because honestly, if I couldn't splatter Mickey Theo with one punch, I'd eat hay with a frigging donkey, and he knows it and all. Listen, good luck to that, he's never a fight in his life, you know. The worst journeyman would ever put a pair of gloves on and be too much for man who's never fought. Am I right, Steve? You know the boxing game. It's only hardcore people, you know. Weightlifting is a good sport. I like weightlifting. I had all the Charles Atlas books and the Arnold books. Big fan of Schwarzenegger. But it's two different things. But you couldn't blame the man for wanting a bit of fame and fortune. But he was never going to get it off my back. All he's got off me was his jaw broke. And I'd probably gone back to prison for life.
Okay, question in the back. Have a shout out, mate.
Peter Fury obviously treated Tyson for a while.
Best of order, please. I couldn't hear you, mate. Start again.
Seen obviously Peter Fury treated Tyson for a while. Obviously he doesn't get any credit. Some people say he did, he didn't. How much credit do you give Peter for giving the world title?
How much credit should Peter Fury get for the way Tyson developed?
My brother Peter, yeah, he deserves enormous credit. He took him to beat Klitschko. He took him to do everything. He changed him from a British title man to a world-class athlete, and he can only praise him for that. He done some good work. Brothers fall out, we fell out with so much shit. Family does, families, brothers. What the hell, he's still my brother. I still love him. He took Tyson's heavyweight championship of the world. Good luck to him.
Guys, 2 seconds, mate. 2 seconds, mate. We've got to make sure that we abide by the... Can you wait a minute, please? It's an important announcement. We've got to make sure we abide by the laws for the venue, please. So can we please sum up your drinks? We've got to be out of here. Everyone has to be literally out by 10 o'clock. So can we just make sure that we're drinking up? Yeah, okay, mate. You can't come forward either. You've got to stay in your seat. Yes. I'll come to you in a minute, mate. Yes, go on.
No, good point.
Okay, conditioning coaches, John. What's your view?
Good point.
Because years ago there was a football championship held by Jack Dempsey. It Floyd Neal that, it placed his student method on that.
I always say the old ways are the best ways. And they're all this new style of fighting, all this new programming, all this nutrition shit. You know, if you can fight and you put the work in, you'll go to the top. But you also need brains behind you and people to guide you. If you're matched and guided right, you train hard. And when I say train hard, do all the road work in the world, get your 2 sessions a day, eat, drink and sleep the job. If you're talented, you'll get there. Karen, need it.
Your question, please. Karen. How proud of your son coming from, you know, his background? You said this is a working class area, John. You know, everyone gets behind your son when he fights.
To be honest with you, Tyson, me, we come from nothing. Still, I'm nobody now. If I hadn't have bred my son, I'd be nobody. I wouldn't be sat here talking to you people. I know that. But what I do is say this one. When you come from where we've come from, you appreciate everything. But you never forget about those people where you set off from. You never forget where you come from. Don't want to, never have, never will. Grounded.
Right, last couple of questions. You with the glasses on. Right, best of order, please, so I can hear the question.
Like the back of you, I don't Wilder.
I seen Tyson over a satellite video when he weighed in at 18 stone 2. I thought they'd get beat. I looked at him, he's as white as a ghost, and I tell you what, they knew they fucked up themselves. Because I seen him on a video and he said to Ben Davison, fucking hell, he said, I'm under 18 stone, he said, I've had my breakfast, they've had my food. I thought, right, you've fucked up, you've overtrained. And honestly, if Tyson's balls was as big as they was, he'd have come unstuck that night.
Next question. Should we give back 1 minute? Next question.
Let me tell you, love.
Okay.
We're in a world of political correctness, but well fucking done! God bless you!
Anybody who saw Myra Hindley in Rose West programme this week, that's the woman who knocked Rose West down in
Good
prison.
on you! Good on you! Hip hip hooray! Come on! Hip hip hooray!
Okay, best of
What happens in Newcastle?
Best of order. Last couple of questions. You in the back, sir. Yeah, next question. We'll go Fred. Next question. You'll have to speak up, man. I can't see it. That's it.
What do you think Tyson
Best of order, so I can hear the question.
Very low! You predicted Tyson to success from first. What says you about that competition?
Cheers,
You know what? Tommy, I think lightning's going to strike twice, I really do. Because he should have been a boxer. He wanted to be a model, you know, one time, you know, model clothes and all that. Not my bag, to be honest. I'm not from that cloth cut. But he wanted to do this, I want to do that. But anyway, I've trained him from being a kid, he liked boxing and this, that and the other, so took him out 10 amateur fights, he won them, lost the final. He used to be a sparring partner for Huey, your brother Peter's son and a few others. And he said, Dad, I want to fight, take me pro. So I'll give him a 6 month prison sentence with Pat Barrett, the Moston Collier's Boxing Club, the roughest, toughest place you'll ever go to in Manchester. It's the Bronx of Manchester. I thought, if you can survive 6 months with Pat Barrett, you want this job. And he did. He passed the flying colours, took him to Ricky Hatton, Ricky Hatton signed him on, done a good job with him, and he made one comment, Ricky Hatton, this kid shouldn't be a fight, should be on the line, and the rest is freaking history again.
Question in the corner. Now, please. Hey, go on.
You really believe that? No, Johnny. Like the programme. Not fucking really.
Can I say, mate? Go on.
John, do you think that Anthony Joshua will come off? Do you think Tyson will burst him?
Will Anthony Joshua fight come off and will he beat him?
Yeah, that's a question we'll lead up to, I know that. But listen, let me tell you this much. Anthony Joshua, he's a good kid. No, listen, give him respect. He's a 2-time world champion, a good amateur, gold medalist, a beast of a man, looks right, a big strong man. But I don't believe there's an heavyweight out there from this era can even touch Tyson. And if Tyson wasn't around, Josh would be a champion a long time.
Okay, last question from the young lad at the back. We've got to clear the venue. Last question. Right. Can I understand a word you say, mate? Yeah.
Shut up! I can understand that bit. Fuck you and all.
Did he? What round? Just make a prediction. What round will he knock Anthony Joshua out in if he fights?
Listen, I'll tell you what happened to Anthony Joshua. He'll get a boxing lesson for 6 or 7, but it'll be a stoppage round at 8 or 9. Because when Tyson puts a foot to the gas, he'll blow him away.
Right. This young lad wanted the question. He couldn't get there to the back. Go on.
Yes!
Managing mental health. All he wants to do, Tyson, is manage his mental health because that's priority. You know, he's a bad sufferer, he's still not very well, but all I can say before I close, every mental health sufferer, like myself, like my son, is a light at the end of the tunnel. Don't be afraid to come out with it. Talk to people. If you're feeling down, pull a random stranger in the street, tell him how you feel, tell her how you feel, and you feel better. That's how we've done it. Walking and talking. And by the way, if you need help, contact Tyson's website. You know, don't make any irrational decisions about talking to people because it can be managed and handled. And he's light at the tunnel, and he's happiness for even mental health patients like me. I'm having a fucking good laugh here tonight. So it shows it works.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. It's been a great night for John Fury.
Thank you, Newcastle, for having me. You've been a great audience. Hope you've had a good night. Thanks again. Look forward to seeing you all. Stay safe where you call us COVID-19 bullshit. See you later on. Thanks for having me.